The tide was pulling strong that morning, angry, relentless, as if the sea had unfinished business. Mason Thorne, a 57-year-old fisherman who had outlived 2 boats, 3 hurricanes, and a heartbreak that never quite left, was tending to his nets when he saw the shape in the waves. At first he thought it was driftwood. Then it moved. He didn't think. He dropped everything, boots slapping the cold shallows, heart pounding harder than it had in years. The tide clawed at him like fingers of the dead, but Mason pushed through, grabbing the man just as he began to sink again. The man was unconscious, his skin pale and cracked with salt, beard matted with seaweed. Mason dragged him back to shore, coughing and wheezing. He noticed something faded on the man's shoulder, a military tattoo, nearly washed away. Something old school, eagle, anchor, shield. "Who the hell are you?" Mason muttered, half to the man, half to the ocean. Mason took the man to his cabin, half house, half fishing shack, tucked into the cliffside, far from the nearest town. He laid him out by the fire, stripped his wet clothes, and started a pot of strong coffee. A gash on the man's leg looked recent, like something sharp had tried to keep him in the sea. When the man finally opened his eyes, he whispered, "Where? Where am I?" "You're lucky," Mason said. "You're alive. What's your name?" The man hesitated. "Call me Cole." No last name, no questions. Mason didn't press. He knew what it was like to carry ghosts. But things didn't stay quiet for long. 2 days later, a knock came. Not many people knocked out here. Sheriff Lyle Borden stood in the doorway, wide-brimmed hat in hand, eyes cold as steel. "You seen anyone unusual, Mason?" "No," Mason lied. "Got reports. A military deserter, escaped during transport, dangerous, was last seen near the coast." Lyle scanned the room. "You'd let me know if you saw something, right?" Mason nodded, but his gut twisted. He hadn't lied to Lyle in years. Over the next week, Cole helped around the cabin. He was quiet, polite, always looking toward the sea like he expected someone or something to return for him. One evening, as the sun bled across the water, Mason asked the question, "You really a deserter?" Cole didn't answer right away. "I was in something classified," he finally said. "Somewhere I shouldn't have been. Saw something I shouldn't have seen. When I spoke up, they branded me a traitor." "You run?" "I survived." Cole rolled up his sleeve, showing the tattoo again. Worn, faded, not standard issue. Around the eagle, words in Latin. "Veritas vincit." Truth conquers. "I tried to do the right thing," Cole said. "Turns out, truth makes people uncomfortable." Mason stared at the fire. "You're not the first man I've met who paid a price for doing the right thing." 2 days later, Lyle returned, this time with a pair of men in black military coats. They didn't smile. One had a sidearm, the other carried a file. "You're harboring a fugitive," Lyle said. "We have reason to believe he's dangerous." Cole stepped out on his own. "I'll go," he said. "Just don't hurt him. He saved my life." But Mason stood between them. "You got proof he did something wrong? Something beyond what's in that file?" One of the agents sneered. "He violated national security." "He'd try to tell the truth," Mason said. The agent raised his hand, motioning to grab Cole, but the sea had other plans. A rumble shook the earth beneath them. A sudden tide surged up the shore, higher than it should have, faster than it should have. The agent stumbled back, soaked and stunned. And there, on the edge of the surf, a shape emerged. An old military crate, rusted but sealed. Inside, documents, dog tags, footage, proof. Proof of what Cole had said, proof of something darker. Hidden operations, buried missions, men left behind. Mason picked up one of the documents and handed it to the sheriff. "Looks like the sea remembers," he said. It didn't end there. Cole didn't go with the agents. In fact, the agents were later identified as private contractors, unofficial, off-record, and now under investigation. The footage leaked. Whistleblowers came forward. Veterans' long silence found new courage. Mason's cabin became a kind of sanctuary, not for fugitives, but for truth. Cole stayed for a while, helping fix boats, teaching local kids how to fish and read weather patterns. People began to whisper a new kind of legend, the man who the sea protected. And every year, on the day the tide rose to bring back truth, Mason left flowers by the water, not because he believed in ghosts, but because he believed in loyalty, the kind that doesn't wear medals, the kind that doesn't march in parades, the kind that runs deep and silent. The days passed like the tide, slow, rhythmic, and heavy with things left unsaid. Cole didn't speak much about what he'd seen. Mason didn't press. There was a kind of mutual respect between them now, born not of shared history, but shared silence. A brotherhood that didn't need war stories to be real. One morning, Cole found an old photo on Mason's mantel. It was grainy, black and white, tucked behind a cracked glass frame. 5 men stood in a jungle clearing, muddy boots, rifles slung low, eyes like ghosts. "You served?" Cole asked. Mason just nodded. "Vietnam, Special Recon, 3rd Team on the ground at A Shau Valley. Didn't come home with the same boys I went in with." Cole studied the photo. "You ever think about them?" "Every damn day." The fire crackled. "Back then they called us baby killers. Protesters spit on us when we landed at JF. No one asked what we saw, what we left behind." "I know the feeling," Cole said. They didn't need to say more. The air was thick with understanding.